Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way, and this week it's how to write a series. But before we get into that, let's do our friends and twinges of the week.
I feel like I'm mostly whinge this week, and I don't really know why. I've just been sick, so I had a couple of days off sick from work, and then was still sick on my actual weekend, which just I think is unfair of the universe. But yeah, I'm not even like dramatically sick, just like feeling a little bit rubbish, and like just a little bit in every way, like a bit achy, a bit chesty, a bit of a headache, a bit like brain foggy. So yeah, not great. And also this weekend I had to get some big numbers on my novel to kind of keep up with my writing plan, and I did not do that because I was sick. It's still fine. I've got contingency, so not a problem. But like it feels a bit sort of, when you're feeling a bit rubbish and you're just like, oh, I feel defeated. So I'm feeling a little bit sorry for myself. But that's fine. And it's also been, because I'm not deadly sick, it's been useful to try and like track that mindset and just see how easily discouraged you are when you're feeling a bit rubbish, and just be like, I'm going to make sure that I am taking note of that and not taking that feeling seriously if I feel it in future. Yeah, and it's been nice weather here. So yesterday when I was feeling a bit better, I went for a really lovely walk. I live in such a beautiful place, and I just need to take advantage of it more. So I went for, I live opposite a woods. You can either go up high through there to get to the kind of top of the nearest hill, or you can go just through the woods and do a little loop. So yesterday I did the big loop, and there was a folk band playing in the valley, and the music just drifted along the wind, and I picked blackberries and ate those, and it was idyllic. And then yesterday I was like, today I was like, I want to do a little walk. I still feel a bit ropey, so I did the short walk around while my lunch was cooking. So delightful, and I should feel more positive, but I just still feel a bit whingy. Do I have a win? Yes, I've got a win that's not like got actual evidence behind it yet, but my win is that I'm trying a new ads process and some new ads content. I think this year I've been finding it really hard to just like dive into a process with ads, because results are so inconsistent, and I just hate doing something that I don't understand, and just kind of like throwing down the bones and putting together some magic tea and just like praying to the gods that like Facebook ads work. I don't understand, because I would have things where they would work and then I would duplicate it, the exact same thing, to move it into like a permanent ad, and it just wouldn't work. And I was like, well, I'm missing something, and there's something I can't read about it. So I decided that what I'm going to do is just like run a series of small tests just to try and get more knowledge, and while I've got a little bit of income behind it, to kind of feel like I can spend that money without it being wasted, as long as it's about I'm about recovering that from my income from my books. That's fine. So I've been doing tests, and what I wanted to do as a test this week was just like try some different styles of copy and images, and again just to kind of see, can I figure out how to read the results and understand what's happening, and that was really nice. So in the Cozy Mystery Clubhouse this week, somebody recommended looking at the ads library of Margaret Lashley, who I will link in the show notes, because actually her ads library is really interesting to look at, and she is doing really well with ads apparently, and she's got ads in there that you can see from like 2 years ago, so clearly doing well. Okay. So and the good thing about those was they were really variable, and so I used it as just like inspiration and to get ideas of new things to do, just because I wanted to try and kind of like cast the net a bit wide. So that felt really nice. I haven't got results on that yet, but I have got some really different styles of ads going, so I can try and get a sense of what do these numbers mean and where do these results come from. And yeah, that was lovely. So I haven't got any results on that yet. It's just started, but I am trying to feel positive and like feel like I am testing to find things out. How about you?
I equally, I'm not going to do much whinging, but I've just had like a week where I've had a really weird week. Like I thought I was going to do loads because I actually had a lot of energy, but I was also like not physically tired, maybe like emotionally tired from doing my edits and all of that stuff for like the past few months. So I just had an impromptu break this week. I every time I kind of thought about working, I just thought, no, I just can't do it. So I had like an an unscheduled break, and that's okay. I'm trying not to like beat myself about it because like I'm still on schedule. I'm still okay in what I'm doing. It just felt like I was being lazy, but at the same time, I need
Yeah, I don't
to
know why
figure
I
that
don't
out.
schedule those like week breaks in on purpose because like I
Yeah.
absolutely do need them. I need
Yeah.
a break between projects, and I always schedule 2 back-to-back projects because like why would I think I could do that?
Yeah.
Why would I just be like and work really hard, absolutely put everything into this project, and then the next day something new. I also think I forget to schedule in like ramping up your energy and your speed on something. So whenever I schedule like a project start, I assume I'm going to be as productive as I was on the last day of the last project. So it's like, no, you'll take like maybe 3 or 4 days of like easing yourself in, increasing the rate.
Yeah, like if finding the excitement or like you're reducing your energy levels and all of that stuff. So yeah, I've been a bit of foot off the gas this week, but I'm building to like put my foot back on the gas. So this weekend I've had a really great weekend. I mean, I did have a good week in that like I took time off and had fun and like went to the allotment and went out for dinner with my team to a very fancy restaurant and drank a delicious margarita and like really fun. Got home at like 1 a.m. on a weekday. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then this weekend I've had like a really good weekend. So I have done loads of admin. I wrote a massive list of all the admin things that I have to do. And I went through so much of it yesterday and today. So I set up ads for pre-orders, like brand new pre-orders.
Why are you like, I've done nothing this week? You've had an admin week.
During the week, I did nothing. The weekend, I was like, here we go. So I set up ads, like made some new little videos and set these ads up. Actually, very cute videos. I haven't shared the video with you, but I should do because I think you'll really like it.
Okay.
Because I'm just winning at Canva at the moment. So I also made a book cover this weekend in Canva, and it's like the world's best book cover. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like just really like why get anybody else to do it now? No, I do like other people to do the covers, but it was just a fun little thing to play around with. I have also like been filming social posts this weekend and just doing my funny little like lip syncy videos because I enjoy doing them and they do perform well. So I just thought I'd lean back into that. And also this week I've been thinking about my like after we were talking about our email lists and our websites and about how we can keep customers in our ecosystem, I came up with like a character profile a customer profile and made this whole document about like what they want to see from an author. And then I used Notebook LM to create a social media plan based on all of this stuff that I put together. So I've got a new social media plan that I'm going to be doing like starting from tomorrow. And that just feels like I've got to the point like I feel refreshed and I feel like a little bit more energy to go into stuff that we're kind of feeling a bit like I was dawdling, like I was just posting for the sake of posting. So I feel like I've got a bit more energy to do that now that I've got a new plan. And that's kind of
with that. I have like taken a break from my posting. So I was like, I feel really like I don't want to put like flat energy out, and that's how I feel at the moment.
Yeah, I used, like I said, Notebook LM. I'd written a whole list of stuff out about what this person would want to see, the types of posts that they would like to see from an author, and typed it all into Notebook. And said, I'm an author. I want to create interesting social media content for people who enjoy like supernatural books and stuff. And it gave me this whole list of stuff. It was like already the stuff that I'd put in, but it put it into a schedule in better terms for me. So that was very helpful. And I've gotten that written out. It's going to go on the wall. I'm going to have it on my phone so I can always look at it. And that was just a very helpful thing to do. So highly recommended doing that. if you want
AI super helpful this week. I used Gemini to make my ads, my new ads ideas, and I got it to write the prompts to put into what do they call it? The Microsoft, is it called image generator?
Mhm.
Creative image generator. It's not got a very good name.
I can't remember what it's called. It's not
Um,
got a good name.
yeah. But it does make nice images, and and you get free credits if you have any sort of Microsoft account, I think. Not many, but you get enough. So I used it to make 4 different images that actually looked really cute, and I didn't have to describe them myself, and I tried to prompt myself, and they're much better than the ones that I've tried to prompt before with it. So yes, I have been enjoying AI this week.
Mhm.
I'll put the link in the show notes. I will look up what the name is, but it's something to do with Microsoft Image Generator, Creative something something.
It's
Okay,
got
so
such
but
an
let's
awful name. I know
yeah.
it is something like that. Like it is something like Microsoft Image Generator Creator or something.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, and if you just
awful.
Google it, you end up on the wrong part of the kind of
Yeah.
section of that website, and it's not helpful at all. So I will put the link in. But there's not what we're talking about today. We spent quite a while talking about AI, but it has been very useful this week. We actually talking about how to write a series,
Mhm.
and we've had the episode on our kind of slate for a while, and we kept putting it off. But it is an important topic. Why do we want to talk about it?
Because we are both obviously series writers, and I'm currently at the start of writing a series, and you are currently in the middle of writing a series,
Well,
and
am I in
well,
the middle? Am I near the
ish.
beginning? We don't know.
And we just thought it would be a great time to discuss what goes into planning a series and what we could do better, I guess. I definitely need to gear up for this because I need to think more in series rather than individual books. That's my problem.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I feel like
that's
this
yeah.
book we maybe had half a dozen conversations where I said, "Are you sure this book isn't a series? Could it
Yeah.
be a series?" And you're like, "No, it could never be. Like it's just a standalone. I'll write a series after this because it's the time you didn't have
Mhm.
a complete series." And you're like,
Yeah.
"I'll write a series after this, but like just this one." The universe will only like to be a standalone.
Yeah.
And then since then, I've done so much effective bullying that you're like, you know what?
You
I
bullied me
think it
into
is
a
a
series.
series.
I needed it. I did need it. This is my problem, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation because I need to say these things out loud for them to be real.
Mm.
But I definitely think in terms of individual books. I think about sorry, my computer's making weird noises. I think about just like the first story, the story that's like interesting to me and gets me excited to start writing. And I never
Mm-hmm.
once think at that point what a series would look like for that story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really my Achilles heel is I'm always just focused on that first book. And I need to be bullied by everybody into making that one idea stretch out.
Yeah, it's
Um,
difficult, right? Because I think I don't know who said this, but someone has told me at some point, it's really stuck with me. That like a book should be about the most important thing that happens in a person's life. And this is
mhm.
definitely someone who was like a literary fiction writer. So obviously you are only ever thinking about standards and you're only ever thinking about like what is the key thing in someone's life. But even if you're looking at like other crime genres, so I write in Cozy Mystery, which are typically series, but other crime genres, if it's a police procedural, it doesn't have to be the most important part in someone's life because it's their job and it's interesting. Every part of it is interesting, but they're often intersecting with someone who is their most important part of their life. Like something bad has happened in that one person's life just as a one-off. And if you look at like psychological thrillers, usually series don't form well at all for those because like you want it to be something so significant it can only happen to them once.
Yeah.
And if something that bad happens to them twice, you're like, well, you're cursed. This is a different sort of book. Whereas I write cozy mysteries, which are always a series, like because what you're really going back for is like this sense of like a familiar community that you've followed. Um, you write in fantasy, which can be series and can be standalone. So why
Mhm.
have you always thought a standalone?
I
Well, not
just
always, but like why do you
not
tend to think that
always,
way?
yeah, not always because my other books in the past
Mm,
have mostly always been a series idea. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have the idea for one thing. So I think when I was coming up with this book, I just had a really good idea for one X meets Y, and that one X meets Y was just
mm.
one enclosed story.
I don't know if we've announced it on the podcast yet. It was a really good X meets Y, but you've announced it publicly, right? What is your X meets Y
Oh
for
yeah.
this
I'm
series?
all over it on social media. So this series is The Craft meets Dead Poet Society. So
So good.
it's my favorite thing, and I feel like more people need to get on board with this because I
Mm,
put it on socials, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I love The Craft." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, like, the craft is amazing, but Dead Poets Society
Poet
as well.
Society.
You know, like,
Yeah.
come on. So yeah, it's like witches and secret, like, it's a secret coven in this, but yeah, secret covens and boarding school, which is just my favorite thing of all in teen books. Boarding school stuff is like my favorite. So yeah, I had this idea, this X meets Y, and it was just the one thing, the one story, because that was like the Craft and Dead Poet Society was just like one like inspirational moment. And I didn't think that it had legs for a series because I couldn't really imagine what else. But this is just me like capping my own creativity, because I had this one idea and I didn't let myself spiral it into something else, which is what I've started to do in a very fun way. So I because I was really like blocked on what was going to happen, and obviously I need to write the next books because I have not done that yet. I was thinking about the story, and what I thought would be a good idea, which is what I bring to the table today, is I went through and made a list of all the questions that this first book has, like open threads, open questions, so that I can put these into post-its naturally. And I'm going to move them around and decide what questions I can answer in each book. Because I feel like that's a really good way. That's how my brain works, is that I want to have like these tangible things, like these tangible questions that I can be like, oh, if I put all these ones together, I can create a story based around these questions. And that's kind of where I'm up to at the moment. But what I really would love to do is to have that idea before I start writing. Before I even write the first book. But I don't know if I'm just thinking that another process is a better process. You know, the grass is greener. Like maybe my process is fine for the way that my brain works, but I do want to try it another way. I do want to get like to plan a whole series before I start.
So because you've got this almost in some way like a cozy mystery, and like you thought of your first book as a standalone, like in a cozy mystery series, every book is a standalone completely, and the main character in cozies, to an extent, and it's often quite a large extent, has no arc. So the main character, it's like a sitcom. Like at the beginning of every book, they're pretty much the same as they were before. And I think no arc is an exaggeration, because often they are dealing with some bigger thing in their background. Like often at the beginning of a cozy mystery, some relative has passed away and you've inherited their inn, and you move into their inn or their cake shop or whatever it is, because you're running away from something bad that's happened in your life. And it's usually you lost a job and you got divorced and like big life changes. And so the character is definitely kind of rebuilding their life, but not in any way that that sort of requires you to read the books in order to get a sense of like where they're at in an emotional level. It doesn't feel like you're turning a movie halfway through. It feels like you've started like a random episode of a sitcom. So because you thought of your first book as a standalone, presume it's got like a complete arc in it. Do you also have an idea of your overall series arc of like where your character's going to get to?
Yeah, so that's probably why I spent so long editing, because my edit took, God, I don't know, like when did I start editing? The start of May, and it took me to middle of July, so like a good 2 and a bit months editing. And that was really because I was rewriting the whole book, as I went, so that I could create these like open loops that could continue through to the other series or to the other books, and create an ending that was both completing a story but opening the door for more. And that's what I spent a lot of my time doing in my edits, was making sure that there was enough intrigue, because it's such a big story. I feel like if I'd have thought about this at the start before I started writing it, I could have just split this whole one book into 3 maybe, or even 2, because it could have gone, I could have like extended this character things that I've got going on between the two, like the antagonist and the protagonist. I could have stretched that out a little bit longer if I'd have thought at the start that I was going to make it into a series, but I didn't. And whether people hate me for that or not, I guess we'll find out. Because my protagonist No, my antagonist, I mean, I love my protagonist and I'm very excited. Like, I know what her arc is. So I'm actually like, I don't feel too badly about trying to stretch her story into 3 books or more, depending on how the series is taken by readers. Because she definitely has like a lot of scope for her character. But my antagonist is like my favorite person that I've ever written.
I love an antagonist. Yeah.
And yeah, she's so good. She's like fully Nancy coded. So she is the bad witch at school and everyone's terrified of her, and she is suitably scary and just like the ultimate bully. But I love her. I love her so much.
But that, I think you mentioned an interesting thing there, and that like you're going to see kind of how the books are received. It could be 3, it could be 5. With cozy mysteries, you can always be like, I'll just keep going until the interest runs out, because like the character fundamentally doesn't have an arc to complete. They might have like a somewhat, backstory thing that needs to be resolved, but that, you probably could wrap up quite quickly if you decided to. And you don't necessarily have to think in terms of, completing a whole character arc. Does it feel like, what are you balancing when you're thinking about, if it were only 3, I would do this for her, if it were only 5, I would do this? Like, how do you plan your overall character arc with not quite knowing how long it's going to be?
Well, I'm a big fan of open-ended books anyway, personally. I like it when you get to the end of a series and you think, oh, I would love it if this author went back and wrote another book. So I'm kind of okay with that. I don't mind reading, and particularly with young adult fiction and stuff, I don't mind reading YA books where there's no happily ever after. There's just a survived, like the end of Buffy's. Like, it was a perfect ending where they survived this big battle, but they survived, so you could have continued watching them. And that is kind of how I feel when it comes to anything to do with like teenage or like fantasy fiction and stuff. It's like, you just need to get your characters to the end of a battle, and you don't have to have a happily ever after. You can just have something else may happen.
But then, like, at the end of Buffy, I think that's a good example to think about, because like at the end of that, they've, spoiler alert for anyone who's 20 years behind TV, like activated all the potential slayers, and they've saved the entire world in a way that feels like incredibly finite. Like, they closed the Hellmouth, right? That's what happened in the end. And so they do a thing that feels the biggest possible thing.
They closed one Hellmouth.
Okay, but it's like the one that is
Hellmouth.
their big. It's been tormenting them for like 7 series.
Yes. But that's like their bully. It's not the world's bully. So that's
but when you look at like other like fancy series, often it's like, look at the Hunger Games, right? An example. It's like you fix the kind of immediate problem that you're in, and then you find out it's bigger, and you fix that, and then you find out like it's the whole world, and you fix that. And it's like there's a limited to like how much you can keep expanding, like to how much you can fix the world. Obviously, if you're writing an academy novel, it's maybe slightly different. Like, you're never at any point attacking the whole world. So how would you add on extra books? Like, what sort of things do they tackle?
Well, I actually, like, this is something that I really need to look into, because I know with academy books this does sometimes happen, where I've read a lot of academy books or started a lot of series where like the first 3 books follow one character, and then the next 3 books it kind of spins off into a sub-series following another character. So I have that open to me, which is quite a fun idea. And I have been toying with that, just doing these first 3 books following the main character, who's Astrid. And then potentially, if her character arc comes to a point where I feel like anything else after this is going to be stretching her a bit too thin, because I know kind of like where she's going to go, and you can only progress somebody to like to their highest point before you start having to have them fall again, and then it's just like beating a dead horse at that point. I'm considering spinning another character arc up to have like basically it would be an open-ended series, because it would mean if people liked it enough, and this is like this is dream scenario. People love it so much they want to keep reading it forever and ever.
But it's like the Inheritance games, right? Like, that's just got a lot of spin-offs because people didn't want to leave the world. And you get people saying, oh, it should have ended after this book, and it's like, well, it shouldn't have, because people wanted to read more. So fine, just you don't have to read it.
Just don't worry about it. So I think if it went so well where they were like, oh, we need more books. I have enough characters that are interesting enough, and I've done that purposefully. Like, I love writing, like, even side characters. I like to try and tweak a bit of general interest, like enough that even if you don't see them a lot, you think like, oh, but they seem interesting, but you haven't shown us any of that. Then that's because what I'm thinking is we could come back to them. Like, they are an open loop that I have yet to utilize. So I have got quite, obviously it's a school, a lot of students. I've got a really good cast of like main characters, and then also just like characters in the background that are interesting enough that I could pull them into the front. And I've worked quite hard in my edit to try and make it so that like the world is mysterious enough that there's like a lot of questions that need to be answered, because Astrid has not been raised in the world that she enters, which is obviously like a classic YA trope. So we get to learn a lot through her interaction, but also like all the other witches at the school have grown up in that world. So then I could switch to another character who has far more information to share. So I'm thinking that I might do that, but then it obviously depends on how the first 3 books go. And that's basically my marketing gambit at the moment, is just write the first 3 books and then see.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky, right? Because, like, you know, advertising will often just eat up the cost of all 3 books. So is that something also you're thinking about? Like, if I stretch it to 4, that would start to bring in profit. And if I had 5, I'd make money in the series.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of weighing up the time to do that versus like you start a new series, it might be more profitable.
Yeah. And I have, that is a big problem. I have so many series ideas, and I've already started writing like most of them. I don't want to get stuck in one series, and then I don't know, like, can I write 2 series at once? Is that can my brain handle it? It certainly can handle having all of the characters and the information in my brain, but in terms of actually physically writing it and managing 2 completely separate things at once, I don't know if I could do that. But I've just never tried. So not like in a way that I would want to do it for a long time. So yeah, I don't know, because I really don't want to get stuck in a series as well. Because I just like have so many good ideas, and I've got so many fun, like spooky, like supernaturally characters that I want to put out into the world. So I'm obviously thinking about my career in a long-term way, even though we talk about having more than like 3 books, like 4 or 5 books to break even on costs. Does that have to be in the same series, or could that just be across the board for my brand? So like if I had 6 books out in 2 series, but the series are obviously within the same genre, could they still help each other out in terms of making a profit on ad spend? I don't know, because I'm not good at thinking about money.
Or you should have the experience in that area right now.
I don't have any experience.
I think it can, it cannot, right? I think it depends like how close the series, how much do readers like your voice versus like, is it a genre where people just want any book in that genre? Like how much loyalty people have in your genre. So I think there's maybe not much you can know on that. Like you can do some research, you can think about it, but like, there's not much you can know without just trying it.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I did also have one more question while I'm interrogating you.
I know. So is this my interview?
Like in Cozy Mysteries, as you mentioned, the sort of YA book that you write, it starts with a character arriving in a world they haven't been in before, right? Like I was saying, like cozies often start with you inherit something from a relative in a new place, or for some reason you often have to go back to your hometown. And so that is the first book. Because then people often have the query of like, what's my prequel then? Because they're already, the first book is like arriving somewhere new, and all the characters that are going to be in the rest of the series. So can my prequel be like people that you're never going to meet again? That seems like not a great intro to it. And are they going to not have anything exciting happen? So how did you approach your prequel novel of this series?
It's a very good question, because I also had the same thought, because it's a dark academia and the dark academia relies on being at school. It's a little bit more difficult because she's not at school. So I just leaned more into like just the backstory, because in the actual book, a big mystery around like what she's going through and everything is that her mum also went to the school, and she doesn't really know what happened. So there's a lot of like stuff around that and trying to figure out like this kind of hint that she's going to have to learn about what happened to her mum. So the prequel is just before she goes to school, where she starts to kind of figure out that her mum has been keeping secrets. And spoiler alert, her mum dies before she can find out. So then that leads into like, that opens up the mystery of, oh, her mum's died and now she's going to be forced to go to this school that she's always been told that she's not allowed to go to. So it's more of a piquing of interest in the prequel of showing like what the character's magic is like and what her home life is like, and having the school be the thing that's like, oh, like a school for witches that she's not allowed to go to. Why? And then
she's going to go, want to see her go? Read the book.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I did it. I tried to, it was more like setting up the mystery of the place rather than showcasing the characters. And I just hope that it hits, you know. It's just one of those things. Every time I think about what I've written, I think, oh, have I done, is it good? I don't know. I'm at this point, I have no idea. I have no idea if the prequel I'm writing matches the tone of the book. I just don't, I can't even see it for myself anymore. So just like, I've been way too close to it.
You wrote them both though, probably.
I know. So I have to assume that my writing style hasn't changed much, but in the past I have had that problem. So I think I've got this paranoid thing. When I was doing, when I was at uni, I was writing an essay and I got like a really bad mark for it because the tutor said that it was like 2 people had written it and he thought that I'd plagiarized it.
Oh.
I know. And I was like, I think I just wrote them, like some of it on a different day. And being somebody with multiple personalities, like not actual multiple, but you know, like somebody who just like one day I'm this person, one day I'm this person. I had just been, and I put in my email to him, I think I was just smarter on that day. Like I don't know what to tell you. That's just how my brain works. And then I got a really good grade because he regraded it based on the fact that I was basically saying it was me. I was just a different person. Yeah. So I have this real panic where I think like, is some of this going to read really well? And then some of it's going to be like really awful because my bad side came out. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes I'm really smart and sometimes I'm really good at writing, but sometimes I'm not.
I feel like I've got no sense of that. Like whenever it's like, I think it's the worst book and it's like I had to rewrite it loads and I felt really unconfident with the style of it. It's always one people really like and it's always like, there's no variance. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I can't tell.
Yeah, I guess like maybe I'm just like, if it's just level all the way through and people just like the whole thing, fine. That's all I need. I just need people to read it and think that it makes sense and not read it and be like, why? What happened to her? Was she in an accident halfway through this? So, yeah. Let's flip the script to your series writing. So, obviously, like you don't have to plan a big arc every single time you're writing a series. So, how do you come up with stories for every single book? Because you're not writing like it's a brand new story every time. So, how do you do that?
And it's interesting because like it's not the most important part in someone's life, right? Because it's the things that is going to happen regularly in a small village of not many people discover a dead body and have to solve the murder, which is like there's a certain amount of like suspension of disbelief. But in a cozy mystery, the thing that makes it different from like a police procedural is it has to be personal to them. So it's going to be personal in a different way. Like they are suspected, a friend of theirs is suspected, it's someone they are close to who passes away. Like there's different reasons why it is maybe not the most important thing in their life, but it's something closely connected to them. And I think the tricky thing about a cozy mystery is because people, they are reading for the mystery, but the reason why they're wanting a series is they want this same group of people, the same community. So one issue I have when I'm planning is sometimes I think too much about the murder and solving that. And like there's not the community, there's not the focus on that. And actually then you realize very quickly like my character is just sort of wandering around, asking people some questions and like thinking about a death. But what they need is like a conflict between the thing they wanted to do, and usually for my series, because it's a set in a tea room, they're wanting to do something to do with their business. So in the current book that I'm writing right now is she wants to create this new business opportunity, basically like create a new feature in the local like events calendar that she wants to put into not a big thing, right? She wants to make a business success by kind of creating this new sort of event, and she's butting heads with the antagonist who won't let her do it. And then while she's trying to set up like the case for this and keep a business going, she discovers a dead body, and it jeopardizes her ability to run this event, and it also makes people in the town like start to question whether she's responsible for it. So then she has to try and like battle these two competing things, interests of like she wants to keep a business running and she has to do that and work hard at that, but also to do that she has to solve the murder. So I think actually thinking about the plots is it's not about the most important thing in her life, it's about like the most important thing right now. And like making that really strong enough that you would keep working on it even when you're trying to solve a murder, and also that you would solve a murder, which like that's the police's job, like that you would do something that is in no way your job, so it has to be strong enough on that front. So it's like it's trying to think of two things that are strong enough and also in some way complementary, that they have to fit together to kind of make your A and B plots tie together, to make the book feel very cohesive. So you could do all that without ever having any tie between the books, right? You can have those two competing things and have the books, they could be complete standalones. There'd be no need to have any background story. And some people do it like that. I like to have something backgroundy that goes on, that kind of it sort of gets bigger and bigger and then it gets resolved. And I try and think of my books in groups of 3 for that. So like book 1 to 3 will be dealing with this issue, and then it turns out it's actually not that issue. It's oh, we've discovered a new aspect of it. It's this. Then you go for these 3 books, and that helps me kind of think of a little bit of an arc, not necessarily an arc in terms of the character changing. There are character changes that I think you would notice if you read like the book complete out of order, like someone getting more confident, or someone in my book she's trying to like heal her relationship with her family, but that's very slow, and like it's not her primary goal. It's never the driving force behind a book. It's just like if you read all the books you would see, oh, in this book she's getting a little bit close to this relative, in this book she's helping this person. If you look 10 books later, you would expect to see there's like more trust between her and her family, but not necessarily fixed. So you don't have to do that. It helps me think of the like some sense of continuity and some sense of link between the books. And it also to an extent gives me a stronger reason to kind of bring certain background characters in regularly, so it helps me kind of keep that community feel in. And in fact, one of the things that I did when I was having like a big admin push was like actually think about if I was going to do these 3 book kind of groupings going on for one series, like what would they be? Because in fact, in my current series, it's definitely a bigger background plot than I had before, and it's a bit more deliberate. In the past, it's kind of been like something the characters stumbled upon that was not related to them, and they decided to kind of figure out. But in this series, it's very directly related to her, and it will lead her to kind of make changes in her relationship with her family. So I was like, I could do with planning that out and just having to think about what would it be. And I made plans for if the book went to 9, if the series went to 9 books, kind of here's the 3 books together, like here's where that arc would go. And then if the book went to 27 books, here's the 3 all together. And it wasn't like I did any sort of individual planning. I was just trying to think of what would those changes be, and if I were going to have a long series, and I could, it doesn't have to be 27, like I could compress this in some way, but like what do I want her end goal to be? And if I were going to end it after 9, what would be a satisfying like end thing for her to do? And it's about like repairing different things with her family relationships. So I think the first 9 group was like she discovers something that kind of means that her family was kind of wrong to always think she's the outsider. Like she discovers something where she actually knows more about the family than everyone else does, and it upsets the balance, but she is kind of, people lose their distrust for her. And then the next 9 was they grow to rely on her because she guides them through this problem that's been discovered. And then the next 9 is she takes over from the grandma who she inherited her books from, spoiler alert, she inherited a shop from, to kind of become the leader of the family. So that's what and that doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily do that, but like that was helpful to think about in terms of, do I have a place I'm thinking about this is going to go thematically? And that might be tiny touch in every book. It's not like in a in other genres, like in a fantasy, sorry, like it's not the main driver. It's just little touches where it would reward you from reading all the books in order that you would see, oh, there is an arc, even though the
Yeah.
character herself doesn't fundamentally massively change. She just
But her
sort of grows
situation
into herself a
does.
little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that was
how
useful
do
to think
you,
about.
how do
And I was
you,
going to say one other thing as well,
okay.
that actually recently in Cozies, there's been a couple of people who are writing closed series. So um, Ellie Alexander recently has done a series of 6 books, and like deliberately 6, and released very close together, that had a quite strong background mystery. So it's like a cold case that the main character is trying to solve all the way through, and every book has some like extra link into that. And at the end of 6, all the main characters go somewhere else. They move to a new setting. They start a new mini series, and I think part of that is an experiment in like being able to advertise a series in a new way. Because the hard thing with a long ongoing series is you've got one entry point,
Yeah.
and people feel like even though you can tell people like you can read them in any order, they often don't. And they will often think like, oh, I don't want to get into the series. It's got 27 books. Don't want to get into it knowing it won't end. I don't know. And some people won't get into the series until they've got a few books. It's like 6, 1.5 dozen other. But I think it's interesting to see people trying closed series in cozies, which is traditionally like an ongoing in perpetuity series genre.
Yeah, that is an interesting, like you say, like having different entry points is helpful for like keeping readers interested, but also like this is the thing that I was talking about before we started recording. I don't know if I said it at the start, is also maybe reinvigorating her interest in the story as well, because that's another thing that I struggle with so much. I put so much of myself and my energy and my excitement into book 1, and then when it's like book 2 and 3, I'm like, oh, am I just writing this for writing's sake now? Am I just writing it to write a series? The original idea is always the fire. Like that's the thing that gets me like, oh, what a great idea. I can't wait to write a series about this. And then you get to book 2 or 3 and whatever anymore. And how do you keep that excitement going? Because it's just like, just another one. I need to work on that. That's a mentality thing. That's
Yeah,
me.
that's interesting because I
That's
think I
me
don't
always
feel
looking
that
for the
way.
next exciting thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because I actually think I prefer being. I think book 1 is so hard to write when you're trying to figure out like the tone and the character and the setting. And I've had to rewrite this series, book 1. I think I rewrote the whole thing twice, quite significantly, trying to get the handle on it. And like I was saying before we had started this, definitely didn't say this on the podcast, I think. I'm currently writing book 4, and I feel really like easy breezy about it. It's book 4. I wrote the prequel recently, and that just felt really like relaxed and easy because I know the characters. I know them, but I like characters who like are a little bit eccentric. 'Cause they do things surprising, like, and that's a feature of their character. So I know them, but there's nothing boring. And like at the start of my current book that I'm writing at the moment, the sidekick just decided to start like taking up roller skating, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll have a chapter about that. And that is just like a fun, whimsical thing I could write like the first chapter about. Because your first chapter in a cozy, I think the struggle is like not making it stuck in the ongoing series. You want it to start as if it is book 1. You want it to have that like bright, fun, like, oh, what adventure we're going on, and you could read it as a standalone. So yeah, I think that is the challenge with an ongoing series with flat art characters is finding ways to make every book feel like it's like book 1. So
Yeah.
that is maybe where I get out of it, whereas you are tied down by like, I have all these threads I must tie. I must keep like weaving this giant tapestry.
Like, seeing that we've both just read the oh my god, why do I never remember the
Inheritance Game?
Yeah, I never remember the words. I always was, every time I read like the next book, I thought like, what next? What could happen? And the start was always so good, and always like such a reinvigorated mystery that I immediately just was straight into it. And I think that maybe I just haven't internalized that lesson yet. It's like that's something that I maybe just need to really spend more time thinking about, is like you can just approach it as a brand new book, but you've just got characters that are far more developed. And I think that I'm always maybe I'm just overthinking or just not trusting myself enough when it comes to writing series, which is why maybe my excitement dwindles because I think that I don't have it in me to write something as exciting as the first book. Oh no, I need to go to therapy.
Yeah, add that to the list of things to go to therapy for. Yeah.
A terrible epiphany.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
my
interestingly, I binge
excitement
read that
levels.
series and I still struggle to remember between the books what happened because so much happened.
Yeah, so much happened.
Yeah. And in book 3 of the main series, there was like reference to an event where I was like, I can't tell because sometimes she would have things which like events that happen off screen. Like I
That
can't tell if it's
freaked me
happened off
out.
screen
Yeah.
or did I forget something quite
I
fundamental from
I
book 1 or
thought
2?
I thought I'd missed a book, so I had to
Yeah, I thought
Google
I'd
to
missed a
be
book.
like, I had to be like, what is this? Like, what is this party? Or like,
Yeah, with the, like,
what
the
was it?
swimming pool scene, right?
Yeah, what
That
was
thing
the
they kept
swimming? Yeah,
pretending.
what was the swimming pool scene? And I was like, I kept looking at it, and I was flicking back to think like, have I read a chapter and then completely blanked it? So I had to go and
No,
check
I
through the
think it's
book.
like one of those intentional things she leaves off the page.
Yes, it was left off the page. Then you get to like the explanation like way later in the book. But I had to Google it to see, and I had to see like there was a Reddit which was all like, no, don't worry. It gets explained
Yeah.
later. Because I thought there was
But
something
that is
wrong with me.
interesting that like
I
you could have read
blacked
that book
out.
and known nothing about the other books. You could have picked up book 3 and started from there and like been as clued in as
Yes.
either of us because it was like
Yeah.
so much happens that she has to do a lot of like reminding of who characters are all the time because you've got
Yes.
no
Yeah.
sense of like I said, like, I binge read them and I still couldn't keep things straight.
No.
I
I've
just relied on her telling
still
me.
struggled with names of people through the whole series. Like, no idea. Couldn't name. I couldn't name
No.
everybody in that book. I
But also you don't need
couldn't tell
to.
you the
Like
name.
it did such a good job of like keeping in the
Even
moment.
now, the main character's name.
Yeah, no idea.
No.
I only remember. I can only like think about it because it's a
Oh,
terrible anagram.
it's a terrible
Yeah.
anagram. Oh yeah. Oh, it was like a very risky gamble. Avery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a way to make you not remember and remember at the same time.
Yeah. But I think she's such a good character, like seeming like a quite blank character that you can easily put yourself into. She does a good job with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, series. So what was I gonna say? Yes. So I really like writing an ongoing series, but I do
Yeah.
I think if I didn't try and borrow the sense of having these like slight background arcs from like other genres to keep that going, I would struggle to keep having like, starting afresh if you got amnesia every day without some sort of background. And I'm not necessarily sure readers are particularly fussed by it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking
it
that
keeps me
today.
going.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I want readers to enjoy the book or the books. But I also know that readers are very fickle, even more so these days. Like the amount that people read in like for the sake of making content and stuff just means that people are reading books and discarding them fast. So like it means that it's like it's definitely more throwaway. But I need to make it more enjoyable for myself to write a series. Because I love reading series. Like this is the thing. I just think I just haven't trusted myself. I would just think that I don't believe that I've learnt anything from all the series that I've read, but I probably have, and I'm just not accessing that information. But because I've got this like list of questions that I want to answer, I feel like I'm almost there. Like it's like a puzzle now, and I get to lay out like all the clues and then solve the puzzle for myself. So I'm hoping against all hope that I have somehow managed to gamify writing a series, which is what I need. I need things to be gamified. I need it to be an interactive puzzle rather than just me trying to like thread things together and hope for the best. So
I would also say it's worth asking Notebook LM for any dangling threads because I think it's medium good at finding them, but it might find different ones to you.
Yeah. I've asked it so many questions. So I've got my list and I've got the notebook list. Okay, and I'm feeling a lot more energized and excited to think about writing the next ones. So this has been good. I needed to talk.
I also want to talk briefly about my prequel because I also have.
Oh yes.
So I wrote the prequel.
That's what I was going to ask
then, for reasons that I can't quite remember right now, I made it book 1. I was like, it's meant to be book 0, and I made it book 1. And I think I wrote it after book 1. So I wrote what was book 1, and they went back and wrote book 0, which is usually what I like to do, and I prefer to write book 0 before I've written something. And then I think my original book one, I was really struggling with. I felt like I had just like loads of characters I was introducing, and it just felt like it was like very throat cleary, and it was really long. And I decided after I'd written the first draft that I wanted to have a short book series, I wanted a series of short books, and also very short chapters. Because one thing was like it just felt really like it had no energy. So it's like I have in this current series now the chapters are about 1,000 words each, so they're meant to be like short and sharp, and they end on a slight like hook to get you to the next chapter. And so I'd written the original book very long, and then the novella was actually not that short. That was meant to be book 0. So then I moved that to be book 1, and so as I mentioned, like in a cozy mystery, many genres, like you start by arriving in the town. And so what was book 1 was she moved back to town to open a tea room that she'd been left as inheritance from her grandma, very common in cozy mysteries. And then what was meant to be book 0 was she comes to visit the town, and it's part of a baking contest. So she sees some of the characters from her family, and there's also the baking show contestants. So it's not like you're overwhelmed with lots of backstory. But when I moved back to be book 1, then I sort of got 2 starts of the series where she visits the town, she re-engages the family, and then the next book she opens a tea room and like settles in properly. So, and then I was like, what can I have for a prequel now? I can't have her like arrive again. And so I was a bit stuck with that for a while, and so I didn't actually write a prequel before I published the series, which I think was actually useful. I wrote the prequel and put it out after book 3, which meant that if people liked it, they could then go and read books 1, 2, and 3 altogether rather than pre-ordering one book. So hopefully that was a different thing to trial. Maybe it's helpful. But anyway, so I made it that because she was already in this baking show, I made it that the baking show went somewhere near her old town, near her hometown, and that her best friend came to visit it, and she got a phone call from her grandma, who she's very close to. So we brought in other characters, and then we also mentioned the characters that were going to be in book 1, in the contestants from the murder plotline there, but like very lightly. So that felt really useful, and I think people often seem to like question what they can write for their prequel when someone arrives. But yeah, I think interesting to hear about like 2 different techniques where I wanted to focus on like having some of the like the same thematic concepts, like she's baking, she's solving a murder, she's in a quaint English setting, but also need to bring in some characters because there's just quite a lot of characters in the series. So bring in some characters so that you know kind of the dynamic you get into. In my prequel, and you've gone for like, because your big thing is like the setting, like the lure of the setting, and then finding out all the lore for that, like that's your prequel like draw.
But when you're writing a prequel for a cozy mystery, in your prequel, do they also solve a murder?
Yeah, I've tried to plan before, they don't, and they did something smaller, but it just felt not big enough. It felt if I do a short story, it's not a murder. So a short story is usually something's gone missing, or someone's stolen something, so there's some sort of confusion. So something like that, and that feels very much like short story territory. And if I write a prequel, I've written them like 20 to 30,000 words before, so not super short. And I think in that time, because my main novels are 42,000, so actually it's not a huge amount shorter to have it be 21,000 for my novella. It is a murder, and really all that ends up getting cut down is I put it in a much more enclosed setting and like a very short time frame, and just fewer characters that you get to know. So there's just not as many side plots. So it still is fundamentally very similar to the main books, just sort of winnowed away a little bit.
Yes.
And so so I think I have thought about having not murders before, because it does feel like it's tricky to do a murder, and I've read non-murdery ones, but I think because there are always murders in my books, it does feel like it is useful to have it be murders in the main prequel.
Yeah. I love that your books are like 42,000 words. I wish my book was, before the edit, 130,000, and I whittled it down to 117.
Yeah, but then think about the page reads. That is some good page reading.
Hopefully. That's what we're hoping. Yeah. Print costs, don't want to think about it. But page reads, yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is a big struggle with like advertising the books, is it? Because actually books 1 to 3, my books 1 to 3 is only the same page read length as one of your books,
Hmm.
because they're so short. Even advertising on 1 to 3 is tough to break even on such short books.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that is a benefit to me. A bit longer books. I don't want them to be that long, but I just can't. I just can't. I just have a lot to say. And when I put through, when I was like asking Notebook LM, like, how can I make this shorter? And it did give me some good ideas for like storylines to cut, which is fine because I did want to cut some storylines to save them for like the rest of the series. But it was like, like cut some of the flowery language that you use to describe the places and stuff. And I just thought, you know what? No.
No, yeah.
No.
That's you that.
Yeah, I like trying to describe stuff and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I think it worked well
117,000 words it is.
in the genre.
Yeah.
Yes, I have all my books take place in a very condensed time period, which really helps because you never have to reset where you are. You have to like reinforce it, but that's shorter than resetting. So you're
Yes.
never in a new place. Like you're always over a couple of days in one scenario. So like my last book was set in a literature festival, and the whole book just took place over the weekend literature festival. So it's like, very condensed and easy to keep short.
Yeah, this book is just set over one term, not even like a full year at
That's
school.
so long though for me.
Just
I've
the
never
one,
read a book that long.
Just the one term.
That's like
September
months of a
to
life.
December. Yeah. That's it.
Crikey, that is
A lot happens to it.
In a cozy mystery, like in my series, that's time for like 3 or 4 murders.
Yeah. Well, maybe people did know. Did anyone die? A couple of people, and then some people almost. Maybe I'll kill someone in the next book. Let's see.
Yeah. I think that's always the way to spice up a book.
Yeah, actually, I could. Yes, I'll add that to my list of questions. Like, could someone die? Maybe. Right. I think that I feel like we've talked enough about this. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I don't. But I think this is a good ongoing topic to kind of revisit once you've got further into a series.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be. I've revitalized my interest in continuing to write the series and not just focus on one book. So this has been what I needed at the right time, as these podcasts always are.
Epiphany. Yeah.
Yes, epiphany. So next week we are going to be discussing our pre-launch activities. Oh, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, my main thought is that like actually it's a very good time for me to do it because I have not really thought about any pre-launch activities with book 4. And it's quite a long time period between 3 and 4. I say long, like 5 months. But I relied in my last kind of releases on it being rapid release, and I have just sort of like not thought about it for this series, for this new book. So I will think about it before then. And it is useful for me to talk about because we're releasing around the same time, like in September. Mine is mid-September. Useful for me to think about how I'm going to promote book 4, which is, like I said, the start of a new kind of trilogy vibe. So how I'm going to just do something to promote that versus like how you're going to promote brand new book 1, new series.
Yes, yeah, new series, new pen name as well. So yeah, it's like starting from scratch. Yeah, I will have a lot to say next week. I'm not going to say any of it now because obviously I don't want to spoil anything. But yes, I'll have a lot.
Exciting.
Yeah, it'll be a long one. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Hopefully this wasn't too all over the place. I feel mental, like I'm so tired.
Yeah, I'm so tired.
I don't know what I've just said for the past like 58 minutes. I don't know what the hell's just come out of my mouth. But thank you for listening. As always, like the podcast. Leave a review if you want to. Like us, yeah. Follow us on socials. Join us in the Discord where we talk about all this and more. And you can also drop us some money if you want to donate to the podcast. You can go to the link in our show notes, which is for coffee, where you can buy one of us a coffee, both of us a coffee, or both of us a coffee and a cake.
That's my preferred option.
Which is the preferred option, yeah. So thank you very much, and we will be back next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.